where we were at limited companies and also known as joint companies. These business, these are the businesses where the number of owners or shareholders pool in their resources to do a common business. Pool in their resources to do a common business. Just recall all the stuff what we have discussed in yesterday class. That's become a limited companies. Okay, where all the shareholders make investment together to do a common business. They are together and then they have decided who should be a CEO of the companies. Okay, all together the board of directors, they are known as the shareholders of the firms and also the owners of the limited companies. Okay, just recalling just recalling the previous discussion we have on it. If I talk about its general features, that what kind of a feature we have in the in the limited companies features, which is the first one we have is the these limited companies are considered as a separate legal entity. Separate legal entity. Keeping in mind what does it mean? It means that any one of the shareholder, if in any case die, okay, if there is a death of any shareholders, that doesn't affect on any function of the business. The business will remain continue. Whenever I will say that business it becomes a legal entity, that mean that it doesn't that business will not affect by the death of any person. Okay, the business still remain continue.
ठीक है.
Clear? That's become a separate legal entities. Then shareholders have limited liabilities. Of course, we all know that. Okay, shareholders have limited liability and owners called shareholders. Owners called shareholders. Okay, that's more than enough to understand these things. Okay, we are discussing about limited companies. So we categorize them into two parts. Number one, I'm mentioning over here so we can continue its sequence. Number one, we have private limited company. Private limited company. And other one we have public limited company. Let's discuss the private limited company first. Okay, what is the difference between public and the private limited companies? Obviously, you have to share your you have to sell your shares in the order to get money, in the order to get investment from the people. But there are some or there are slightly difference between the private and the public limited in the order to get shares from the public. Private limited refers to as small to medium sized businesses. These are small to medium sized businesses. First, and that is owned by shareholders. Owned by, you can mute your mic. That is owned by shareholders. But what is the difference between private and the public limited? Here, the shareholders are the member of the same family. Okay, member are the same family. Suppose if you wanted to sell a few shares, being a shareholders, you wanted to invest or you wanted to sell few shares, you are bound to sell it to to your family members. Let's say you can only sell either to your cousins, your aunts, your uncle. Okay, that's become a very much uh, limited, limited by or associated with a particular kind of you might say the families. Okay, we normally said the families have their own businesses. We have family business. So normally, whenever you listen to such kind of terms, so these companies became or become a private limited company. You can say the top management or the owners are basically are from the same family. If I talk about the formation, if I talk about the formation of such companies, here the formation, the complex legal formalities are basically involved. Complex legal formalities are involved. And if I talk about its ownership, owned by at least two to maximum 50 shareholders. If we talk about its ownership, minimum two and maximum 50 shareholders you required. Management and the management and control. These businesses managed and controlled by the board of director. You already know that. We have a clear discussion on it. Managed and controlled by board of director. Okay. And these people decide who will be the CEO of the company. So that's mean the all overall the control of the firms from these board of directors. Let me tell you next thing, that is the legal status. If I talk about its legal status, the business is recognized as law as legal person. Obviously, it become a legal entity. And if I talk about continuity, continuity, there is a continuity. There is a continuity. The death of any person or the abnormality of any person, as I told you in the partnership might get disturbed, but in that scenario, in the legal formalities or the legal separate legal identity, because such limited companies, joint stock companies has, so there is a continuity. It doesn't affect on such kind of organizations. If I talk about the tax issues, there is a double taxation. There is double taxation. What does it mean, the double taxation? First, on your investment, as I told you, because this is not just like a millions, something investment, something in a million, but this is something that is very much related to the millions and the billions. Okay? Billions dollars. So you have a huge investment over there. So first tax you have to pay on your investment, and then next tax that you will pay on your return. So that's why we mentioned that here in that scenario you have to pay double taxation. If we talk about its advantages and disadvantages, let me tell you one thing. Advantage and disadvantage. If we talk about its advantages, shareholders have limited liabilities, of course, everyone knows. Shareholders have limited liabilities. More capital can be raised, of course. We can add here more capital can be raised and easy to transform into the public limited companies. Easy to transform into public limited companies. I will let you know what is public limited companies. Public limited companies. Disadvantages: not easy to form, not easy to form, and has to fill the complex tax form. Obviously, here is double taxation, so uh, has to fill complex tax form. Complex tax form. If you have any question, you can ask right now, or otherwise, I should move to the next. Do you have any question?
No.
Perfect. Now, come on to the public limited companies. We have a second category here, public limited companies. Okay, as I told you on the above, that these companies owned by the shareholders who are often the members are from the same family. But when we talk about the public limited companies, these are the large businesses with the right to sell shares to the general public. You can consider as a stock market, okay, where anyone, doesn't matter you're from that particular company's members family or not, you can just purchase it. So these are the large organization, these are not the small medium, these are the large organization. So large businesses, and you have a right to sell shares to the general public, to the general public. If we talk about its formation, if we talk about its formation, just like uh, above, legal formalities are involved. Okay, and if we talk about, okay, one thing you just have to understand, whatever the things we discussed in the private limited companies, all almost things are same in the public limited companies. Okay, just like in the private limited companies, there were complex and legal formalities were required, the same scenario. Okay, I'm just mentioning here same. So you just have to copy and paste and see what we have wrote in the private limited companies. If any difference, I will let you know over there. If I talk about its ownership, I mentioned that you almost maximum 50% required and minimum two. So again, here you need minimum two, and maximum no limit. Okay, maximum no limit, because these are the large businesses organization, and large we can't define that how much it should be. So there are no limitations to have shareholders. Legal formal. If I talk about the legal status, just like a private limited company, you have the same legal status. Okay, legal status just like the private limited companies. So here the scenario is same. Continuity, of course, there is continuity. Same. You can copy paste it. Tax issues, same. Tax issues are same. And then if I talk about its advantages and disadvantage, okay, and here you can say easy to raise capital, just like above. Raise capital, then can operate on a large scale. Okay, it has unlimited life, and then shareholders enjoy limited liability, just like above. Shareholders enjoy limited liability. Disadvantage advantage just like above, difficult to form, difficult to form. Another disadvantage, files always open for inspection. Files are always open for inspection. You know, everyone, everywhere, every time, being an investor, you are always ordered to clear your assets to show that what you have in your wealth. So you have to keep it simple. You have to keep it open every time. So that's another disadvantage you can say. So no personal touch between employees. It's another thing. No personal touch, or you can say between employees and the customer, between employees and customers. Now, if you have anything in your mind, you can ask, or